Into the South African experience, I'm being joined by the man at the helm of affairs of the South African tourism, Sisa and Ntsona. Chief, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm excellent,
Great.
thank you. How are you doing?
Very well. This is your first official visit to Ghana.
Yeah.
How's it treating you?
Excellent so far. The weather is absolutely wonderful, and the people as well are actually very helpful as well. So one night so far, but looking forward to the rest of it.
I see. What brings you to Ghana?
Well, Ghana is an important market for us, South African tourism. Essentially, it's a sector that we are trying to grow as a country all the time. And we've seen a nice uptick in terms of visitors from Ghana to South Africa. I believe we are your fourth most popular destination, basically, for Ghana to travel to. And we want to make sure that we build better relationships.
I see. Interesting. So South Africa is also a very, if you like, preferred destination in Africa for tourism and all of that. How do you do the magic?
We, as a country, we took a decision a couple of years ago to really rebalance our economy.
Okay.
Not to rely too much on mining, not rely too much on manufacturing, but really to bring up the tourism side of it.
Right.
We're also very blessed as a country that we've got many experiences, whether you're looking for safari, whether you're looking for the beach experience, lifestyle becomes important. Rural tourism is also picking up quite nicely on that side, so it really becomes a very eclectic mix of things as well.
Okay.
I think also important there is that there's something for everybody.
Right.
So whether you are one-star backpacking student, there's a price point for you. Or as a person like you, uber luxury, top-end type of person, there's something there as well.
I see. So I want to look for a way where we can learn from South Africa, for example. I know you are here to do something with the Ghana Tourism Authority, but then you seem to always get it right, to even get people to come look at monkeys or lions. The Ghanaian tourism terrain seems to be having a bit of a tough time in some areas. What's the magic again, I'm asking?
Well, necessity.
To draw people there.
Necessity drives us as well. I mean, we've all seen, the drop in oil prices, the drop in commodity prices. And what essentially is to look at, the key things there is that look at what you have and develop what you have and then sell what you have. I think at times we try to copy other people and have all sorts of things basically over there. It really is key on that side. And you also need to understand that the world's today's global traveler is not just looking to take pictures.
Right.
They're looking to immerse themselves, So what is the experience? What do they take away from, after visiting Ghana? What is their eat, love, pray moment sometimes, the life changer that's there.
Well, Ghana is known as the gateway to Africa. In fact, that's what our tourism guys tell us that we are. And we also brag and say we are hospitable. Can same be said of South Africans? How are your people, for example?
I get told all the time that despite of all of our beauty as a country, all of our nature, all of our resources, infrastructure, that South Africa's secret weapon is its people. Right? Once you interact with us, apparently we're very infectious as well. So we lead with people, we lead with emotions, and then make sure that we involve more and more South Africans into it. Many people think they've seen South Africa. Right? But believe me, there's a whole lot more that the country still has to show, And part of our drive as South African tourism is to make sure that even if you come to South Africa for the 5th time or the 6th time, there's always something new to experience. Almost like an onion, you're peeling it one layer at a time, basically.
So different layers are coming out.
Different layers are coming out, exactly. And then you get more intimate with the country every time you kind of go to the next level as well.
Now, let me ask maybe a more specific question. So Ghanaians say we are hospitable, and that's about it. So you go to a tourist site in Ghana, and perhaps the people who even live around the tourist site do not understand that what they have there is a certain wealth that they can tap into. Is that the same in South Africa?
Oh yeah, we've come through a journey. It's because, as I said earlier on, is that we've been mining countries. We respect and we understand mining. When we find gold, there's happiness all around.
Right.
Now, tourism is a service, so you can't touch it. Right? But you can have impact on it. And tourism is a one sector, by the way, that touches on the entire economy. So whether in banking, whether in infrastructure, whether in construction, whether in agriculture, tourism drives all those things.
Right.
Now, it's about making sure that everyone can understand that they can play a role around it. So if you are selling shoes, as an example, how do you make sure that you get the feet and the traffic of the tourists for them to actually buy your shoes as well?
Ah, I see. Now I'm convinced I want to travel to South Africa. I pick my green passport, and now what? How do I get a visa?
Well, we've got an embassy basically over here that processes the visa as well. Your travel agency that you deal with will give you information in terms of what's required, the period required, and everything else from that perspective.
Is it easy to grab a visa to South Africa?
Well, you know, the conversation that's going on at the moment is we are actually going through a process as a country where we're looking at the entire visa regime.
Okay.
We've asked ourselves is why, as an example, we don't, Mozambicans don't need visas to travel to South Africa, but Kenyans do, but Ghanaians do, as an example. So we're looking at the whole entire regime and system, and hopefully we want to make it easier to get the numbers through on that.
I see. You've been hosting the influencer trips. Tell me about it. You put celebrities on a plane, you take them, and you know, fully paid trips, and you bring them back.
Yeah.
What's the deal?
So I work with a lot of young, creative people, and at times I never understand what they do. I just have to trust them.
Okay.
Right? So my traditional mind tells me you got to market, and then people are aware, then they come through.
Okay.
The world we live in, however, is all about impressions. It's all about connections as well.
Okay.
And the influencers, essentially, we look at them as, you know, it's almost like people tend to do what they do.
Okay.
And if we get a big name that says, listen, I did X, Y, and Z, you tend to see a following behind it. I mean, that's what social media does, not only here in Ghana, but globally. I mean, people follow Kim Kardashian. If she sneezes, everyone sneezes, as an example. So really, it's about what's our best way to deploy the limited resources. So invest the time and effort to get your very well-known people into South Africa.
It costs a lot of money to do that.
I use the word investment.
Investment.
So essentially, we do want a return on it.
Okay.
We measure the return.
Okay.
It's never on a like-for-like basis on that moment. But you got a choice. Either we can spend money with the billboard and say, come to South Africa, or we actually get well-known Ghanaians to actually travel to South Africa.
Okay.
Then they will tell us their story on our behalf. Third-party endorsement.
So you're bringing your banking experience as an investment banker into this. You've been there since 2016. How has it worked, this plan, this influencer thing?
Absolutely. I mean, my core charge I was given when I joined is that run SA tourism like a business.
Okay.
Right? And that's what we focused on. So every money that we spend or invest, I do expect a return on it.
Okay.
And some of the returns you can get in the short term, some are in the medium to long term. Building a brand takes time. Because a brand is a promise. A brand really kind of delivers. You got to close your eyes and say, well, I can imagine being on the same beach as my favorite superstar. I can imagine having the same experience. And we've got to be careful, though, with the whole influencer, because you've got to balance it out. Because when an influencer is someone that's too far away, you're almost like, well, that's not for me, that's for famous people. We want to also make sure that people can see themselves in it and say, well, oh, if Sisa can do it, I can do it. And it's possible as well.
Tell me about Indaba. Talk about South African tourism, and Indaba stands tall. Tell me about it.
Indaba has really evolved over time.
Previously,
I mean, it's a trade show. I call it a show and tell. Right, where essentially we invite the world to come see our capacities, our capabilities in delivering tourism. The trick, however, what we've done last 2 years is to make it Africa-wide. It's not just about South Africa, it's about the continent. Because we fundamentally believe that if the continent wins, we win as well. Right? So before we sell South Africa to the world, we should sell the African continent. Because many people think African continent is a country. You know, they just geographically cannot place us. So really, it's about the continent's might in terms of all the tourism authorities getting together and inviting the world and says, well, here's what you can experience here, here's what you can do there, etc., etc.
Mandela will be 100 if he were alive this year. What's happening? What's up?
Well, I think, you know, the way we find ourselves in the world today, I think we all need a bit of Mandela coming through, you know. And it's really about acknowledgement. It's about, as a country, we miss the old man. We wish for his wisdom. We wish he was still around. Really a big father figure to us. But secondly, as well, is that we looked at it and said, well, as tourism, how do we pay tribute to him? Right? How do we make sure that we get more and more people involved? And what we've done there is that We've come up with 100 destinations across the entire country
Okay.
of South Africa that have a Mandela theme. From the most obvious place where he was born, as an
Okay.
example, to anecdotal place where his favorite cup of coffee was, as an example.
Ah.
I mean, that's what gets people
And you're
moving.
selling all of that.
We package all of that. So each destination becomes a story. You know, so you're not just going there physically, but you're also almost like a pilgrimage.
Okay.
You know, and
Okay.
we're actually running a bit
Weaving
of...
through a maze of destinations.
We're running through a contest a little bit to see who's going to get to the 100 first, as an example. You
I
know.
see.
Yeah.
Wow. So now I'm curious. What are you leaving for us here in Ghana? You're going to be here for 2-3 days.
Yeah.
So if you leave, what impact are you hoping to see the Ghana Tourism Authority and our tourism fraternity take up?
Twofold. The first one is to really connect with the trade. These are the people that sell us. These are the travel agencies, the tour operators,
Okay.
to reaffirm that we appreciate the support, and SA Tourism is behind them and supports them in one way or the other.
Okay.
That's the one part. The other part is from the authority side. Again, it's about how do we share experiences?
Okay.
How do we share what works in South Africa with Ghana and vice versa?
Okay.
We need the Ghanaian tourism economy to really check up.
Right.
Because one, that is nice. Can you imagine now putting a package together where you can market overseas, say in the US,
Okay.
it starts over here, connects in South Africa and exits somewhere else.
Right.
Then we're really working together as a continent.
I see. Nightlife, my final question, in Ghana is almost dead. It's reduced to drinking, smoking, chewing kebab, dancing, going to sleep. So if you come, for example, to the Kotika International Airport, they could take you to, say, Kakum National Park or the castles and forts, take you to some... But in the night, you're either restricted to your hotel or you're drinking and smoking. Is that the same in South Africa in terms of tourism?
It's moving. I think what you need to do is to unleash the entrepreneurial spirit, especially of the young guys.
Okay.
People must see an opportunity and a gap. Right, yes, tourists do come. So even if I do come here for a conference,
Okay.
I also don't want to experience some of the nightlife.
Right.
So therefore, what you start to see basically is that people start to create niches for themselves and build it over there.
Right.
I mean, last night I was at a jazz function,
Uh-huh.
not jazz function, basically a restaurant, very nice and laid back.
Okay.
But it got me a sense to know
233?
233,
Uh-huh.
absolutely, basically. And I absolutely enjoy the music.
Right.
Again, it's about young people must see entrepreneurial opportunities to saying how do they change the narrative and make sure that they can introduce themselves into this.
Most grateful. Welcome to Ghana, sir.
Thank you very
Sisa
much.
Ntsona.
Lovely. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Cheers.
And that was a conversation. I hope you picked something from it. So it's not about just wearing batakari and painting your face and say you're doing tourism. Learn from those who have seen it, been there, done it, and have actually gained something from it. Sports is up next. Stay with us on New Day. We'll be right back.